So continuing on the little build that we are doing in this kind of bottom area, you can see I haven't done any decoration yet, but I'm going to work on this area in here today. I want to put this up just to show you how you can kind of grab maybe just prefabs from the game and then make them your own. Now I will do a little tour of this area because I've done quite a bit of work here. Now what I'm doing is just moving this around to see whether it would work there, which it doesn't. For me, really doesn't work there. So I'm going to put it back where we got it from, right there. And I'm going to put something else in that little corner. And I've got to rejig this quite a bit to get this all to work. But I want to keep the feel and the vibe of the build that we did last week, and just start to build on that. So I'm going to use the Dead Wasteland mod and just see what it offers as far as prefabs and concerned. We'll pick one and then we'll get into it. So after a considerable bit of looking around and a fair bit of faffage, I come to this one and I think that looks good. And you can see what I like about this is it's just a prefab with some metal roofs on it, but I do like the overhang look of this. And so I like to use prefab sometimes just as a starting point and see what we can come up with. And I want to use these parts that come with the mod as well. Now for some reason they do not want to snap, and I think it's probably got to do with the roof, but you know, that's just a prefab, so if that's meshed right that should just snap into there. But anyway, we're going to, as you know, it's not an issue for us because we have a place anywhere, but you might have to use rugs or whatever to get this to work on your own builds, just depending on what mods you're running and what platform you are on. So I do like this mod at the moment. I'm having a great lot of fun using it. I love all these new kind of elements, items that it's giving me, and it's allowing me to create, you know, buildings that I couldn't have done in the past, which is what I like about it. Now you can see I'm just trying to measure this up so that it fits in the right spot. And already just by putting that door in, it's completely changed the overall look. And again, you know, I don't think any of this is going to snap for me. It's not, the Fallout building gods are not being kind today, but that's alright. I think I've said it many times in the past, you need to be fairly resolute and persistent in when you're building in Fallout. There you go. See, that one snaps in, and it might be that sometimes it's just the angle you're looking at the piece relative to what you're trying to snap it into. Sometimes it might just be the item's not been snapped properly or hasn't been meshed properly or whatever it might be. See, that wants to snap on the outside there though. So it has snapping points. It might just not have a relationship with this particular piece here, which I find kind of surprising, but that's alright. We're adaptable. We'll work around it. It's not a major drama. I do like the look of this, so it fits very well. And this is the key to kind of making your own builds be unique to you, is by, and I think that's what I love about the community, is that it allows you to, everybody has the same pieces, but you can all make quite different buildings and settlements by doing this. I'm probably going to have to switch snapping off. Let's just see if we can get it in first. If we don't need to switch off snapping, I'll just drop it in like that. And in the second half of the build, we're going to build on top of this, but I have cut forward, so there's a whole lot of buildings that will appear in the second half of this build that I've gone ahead and built and I never recorded. So like I said, I will give you a little bit of a tour at the end so that you can see what this whole area looks like. I have done a little bit of decoration. I haven't done everything. Not all these little houses are decorated, but it'll give you a feel for where we're heading with it. It certainly was one of those cases, and it will happen to you when you're building in Fallout. You build one thing and then you go, okay, what can I build that will complement that? And then one build has turned into two, and then suddenly it will give you a whole direction for a particular part of your settlement. At least that's what happens here. That's how it happens with me. I'm sure it will happen with other people. It is a bit of a contradiction compared to the rest of the settlement, but I wanted to link this area down here into the kind of growing area that's off to our left at the moment, and etc. And kind of give it that kind of farm, rural look. So this accommodation will be very kind of basic, and then as we go through we will mix it some more, slightly more, at least that's my idea, to make some slightly more sophisticated accommodation in the levels up above. And there you go, you can see that we've put 4 walls on it. And okay, so how can we make it look a little bit more interesting than just putting 4 walls on it? So I've gone to Toys at the Prams mod pieces that we got recently, and I thought, okay, we could add a few of those in and just see what it looks like. So I did a video on using these pieces to make a custom fence, but you also can make custom walls for your little kind of settlement buildings as well. So never restrict yourself by just using items for one thing. Kind of experiment around. I encourage you to do that a lot and just see what happens. Add things in. Some of it won't work, and that's happened to me in the past. But give it a go and just see what it looks like. So we're anti-shimmering these. There's an interesting little shack which started from a prefab and now is a little bit of a custom feel about it. So the next part I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, well, the thing that now kind of makes me wonder how to link, and this is very important when you're building, how to link certain areas to other areas. So very easy way of doing that, especially the way that this particular area that we're working on right now is looking, is to just put these ply boards down like this and do a pathway. Now that little truck there, that piece of debris that I put in before, that will be gone once you come back, because I want to build some more stuff to my right here to create a natural wall. So I just couldn't fit it in, so I have to rejig this a little bit after I've done all this, but not too much. So okay, so guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to skip forward a little bit, and we're going to build a little tower up above on this little shack that we've just made. So here we go. You can see there's quite a few buildings suddenly appeared, and we're quite far progressed. So we're going to build a tower in this corner, and my idea is the gate acts as a kind of defensive tower. We've got one behind us in the opposite corner, and we're going to build a defensive gate up in here. And so let's get into the build menu and let's get cracking. Now strangely enough, I'm starting to come up against frame rate issues already in the settlement, but it seems to be only, and this happens, it's happened to me in Hangman's before, it seems to be in certain spots, and I don't understand why. But yeah, just the spot just above us and behind us, it's happening. So I wanted this tower to look a little bit different. I want it to blend in with the buildings we've already got. So try and do this a little bit differently. For some reason that piece doesn't want to snap. Of course it doesn't. So I have to persuade it into place. Maybe we're too close to the boundary there. I am really not sure. And my idea here is to make a slightly different underneath piece for this than we had in the other tower that we built. So put a wall down, snap a floor on, chuck a set of stairs on, and then we'll go from there. Now these do kind of stick through the bottom of the building below us a little bit, but not enough for me to look for other stairs. There we go. And suddenly we've actually naturally built a little piece underneath that we can utilize. Not sure what I'm trying to do here whatsoever, but I think I'm trying to move. Okay, so I've got to get that in a slightly different place. There you go. That's better. Put the floor back and then snap everything back. So there we go. I know it was a slight adjustment, but it's very important that you get that kind of first couple of pieces right, and then everything will build off of that. And you can see it's a very easy technique. Snap that wall and snap a floor off it. You can put the two ladders, bang bang, very tight stairwell, and that should set you on your way to build the rest of the tower foundation. Here we are in USO. We're using these, my favourite walls, the old metal ones. Now, the reason I'm using these as opposed to the ones that are that I've got for Workshop Rearranged is the Workshop Rearranged walls are slightly bigger. They're actually barn walls, whereas these are kind of normal wood walls that have been, or metal walls that have been reskinned. So they fit perfectly in this spot here. One of the big challenges though you're going to have when you build a room underneath is the stairs and trying to hide the stairs. So, also, I would encourage you to do what I'm doing here, and that is to use the kind of half walls if you've got them, and use two different half walls. Obviously I'm using the same one here, but to mix the textures up, it's another way that you can mix textures up. I don't know quite why I'm not using a full wall here. I can't remember. There's obviously a reason for it, but anyway, it is what it is, people. Come on. There you go. Just put it in there. Because when you do that, when you use two different walls, obviously lining them up can be a bit of an issue. But that's not too bad in actual fact. That looks pretty close. It's close enough. Slight tweak. Just check that they're not poking through the bottom, which they're not, which is all good. Don't look while we get back up the top. You'll spoil the surprise of the two. There we go. And okay, so for me, because of the mods I run, I can actually physically just snap floors off of things and whatnot. So I can snap straight away again, just snap a floor straight on top of that ladder when we get to that point. So one of the beauties of having Workshop Rearranged is you get these single doors, and they solve a lot of problems. Before that, that door would have centered right under where we didn't need it, and it would have been no use. So here's the problem. You can see that snapped through the stairs, so I need to bring that in just a fraction, and I'm probably only going to be able to use two of those on this wall. You see, it's still not quite right, and these are the kind of things problems you're going to have. So I can snap a floor straight off this these stairs. So, some of the pieces might not, and because of the mods you're running and whatnot, might not work as well as mine. I use Master Plan and I use Workshop Rearranged, and it helps with snapping things and items and how they work together. Now, I get the platform wrong here because I haven't pulled the first piece across far enough, and we're actually struggling with the boundary here. That's what's happening. That's why these won't snap. So I have to reconfigure this a little bit, and actually we have to pull all this down. So here we go, I'm back on top. I've reconfigured it so it all snaps nicely together. Make sure you don't fall through that hole, and you know, this is just rinse and repeat from the other tower. Now it will look slightly different, but the techniques I'm using are... Now I'm going to fall off if I'm not careful. What I was trying to do is... see? Ouch. That hurt a lot. Okay, up we go again. I've been doing pretty well. I haven't fallen off for a long time. But anyway, as you can see, that whole platform is floating. So that obviously the next part of this is to try and get the. Now I'm going to do it again if I'm not careful. Okay, we've got to figure out how to fix that. Oh, it's not, and why does it not want the snap there? fine. I'm just going to use... Oh, that one wants to snap though for some reason. No idea why that's not snapping. Anyway, don't really care. I'm going to use the other railings. I couldn't be bothered with this today. I'm just going to use those. Screw you for that 4. I will just get round it by doing that. There we go. Okay, cool. Done. And I'm just going to vary up all the rails and we'll come back once we've got that done. Now, one of the things that you've got to be aware of when you're building like this is that you have put normal kind of vanilla sized walls in with warehouse pieces, and because you've put warehouse pieces in, i.e. you've put those stairs in that are warehouse size, then you will have to use warehouse walls in this connecting area. You can see that's a normal size wall and it's too small, so you're going to have to use the, see, that piece fits perfectly. So you can get caught out with this kind of stuff if you're not paying attention. If you get stuck on that and you're going, why doesn't that fit? That's why, because of the pieces that you've decided to use. So I'm in vanilla extensions at the moment. I think I'll get out of this in a second, go to the barn tab as well. So I mix and match again various walls. And the reason I get out here, I don't think we've got those half walls in. No, we haven't. So we have to go to the barn tab next to get those half walls to fill those side gaps. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. What colour are we going to use? We just use the standard red, flicker all the way along to these ones. Yep. Here we go. That'll fill in that side, that'll fill in that side, and that's the right height. There we go, all good. And now it looks supported. And you get a fairly good view of everywhere that we need to look at. And here's now the problem, it is to try and get all this, see there's a gap there? Okay, how are we going to get around that? So what I end up doing is bringing the height of that piece there up just a fraction to fill in that gap. So here's the perils of working with different height pieces. You make one decision and it impacts in another area, so it's always a constant kind of battle. I like the look of this tower. This tower is looking quite unique compared to the last one we built, and I think it sort of fits with what the area we're building. Having a good look around for these support columns, and I found these, which I like a lot, just in case of finding the ones that fit, and we'll put those in there like that. These are not quite big enough, so snap that on and then we'll snap one underneath and we should be all good. See now, again, that's outside the boundary, so we're going to have to, and these actually, you can see they kind of blend into each other, sort of. Not perfectly, but we're going to do that. Okay, nice. And see if this one, where's this one going to, and here again, because it's outside the boundary, sometimes you see it's hanging over, so we're going to have to put it there. There we go, like that. Not quite blended in as well as I wanted it to, but we'll fix that in a second. That one does. So why doesn't this one? There we go, good. And so, very big, long support, looks very robust. As if you've watched me for a while, I like running up and down buildings or stepping back and just trying to get a feel for everything's working, how everything's looking. And there you go. So we're going to cut to the tour in a second. You'll get to see how this all ends up, and I'll let you see the area down below and see how that's all kind of blending in together. So here we go, we'll walk through here. Now guys, I need your help. I've made a little shop in here. Just push across here. I need some ideas for what we're going to make it. I've sort of got an idea, but I don't know if it'll work or not. So you've got a little workshop outside, a workshop here. And you can see there's a little bit of rejigging here. Let's run across here and show you the over kind of old look. Now, still got a lot of decoration to do in this area, and I still probably got a lot of building to do in this area, and I've got to build a wall, settlement wall up a little bit, but you can see certainly working on that farm stroke rural stroke country vibe with that kind of almost megaton feel about it. I've done a bit of decoration in here so you can get a feel for kind of how this is going to look, or these houses are going to look once we get them done. There we go. That one, I've added a water purifier system in. I had to add a switch because it's noisy. I haven't done any decoration in there, but I've been adding a lot of bits and bobs like these kind of things to the side of these shacks. Nothing in here yet. Don't know even why we came in here, but anyway. One corn. This is obviously a fairly basic little shack with a couple of beds in it. I like the fact that there is no floors in it, it's all dirt. And we'll go upstairs. A few things I got to show you on the way through. This little shop we've resolved now is a little armour shop, outfitters, whatever. And that shop in front of us there, or that building, is now a gym. I think I showed you that in the last video. There we go. Had to rebuild the barbers because of the update to Snappy House Kits. This area here I'm going to need your help with. We'll come back to it in a sec. And Siri wants to get in on the action. Couple really pretty basic up here. Still got a lot of decoration. Got a couple of turrets just in the meantime to keep the settlement fairly secure. And then this area underneath here, I've got to give me some ideas what I can put in here. And that's us pretty much done, guys. Thanks for joining us on Fixing Up the Commonwealth, and we'll catch you next time on Gaming for XP. See ya! Sure you keep up with all the new content on Gaming for XP. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, and we'll let you know once we've uploaded anything that's new. See ya!